Thursday, and you know what that means. It's time for the Greg Cherry Show, and you know what? It's been way too damn long since it's just been the two of us. Nothing.
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah. By the way, that's why I say we need a full screen, because that was just, I mean, it was funny as hell to see us doing that shit, but it's not a full screen.
Good stuff. Greg Cherry, Jeff Meacham with you as usual. And it's been a crazy week. I figured I would have to surgically remove the smile from your face after the Cowboys completely obliterated the Giants.
It's one of those, it's the Giants. Does it really count? I mean, it counts in the standings. It counts as a win, but it's the Giants. So, it's like, I have a better philosophy if we beat Ed O'Neill's Little Giants, if we're being honest. If we're being honest, who is the good guy in that? Rick Moranis. If we beat his Little Giants, I'd be more okay with it.
Well, the Steelers actually pulled out the victory over the Packers, despite their best efforts to lose.
Yes, they were determined to not win that game, and by God, they did it anyway.
It's just the theme for the season, it seems. Somebody told me that if the Bengals win tonight, the Eagles beat the Chiefs, and the Steelers beat the Ravens on Sunday, that the Pittsburgh Steelers will have the number 1 seed in the AFC.
That's how batshit the AFC is this year. Throwing that out there right now.
I don't get it. How is this team with the Matt Canada offense winning games, number 1, and number 2, winning games so much that they could actually be a threat in the playoffs?
This is the same NFL season that the Detroit Lions are second overall in the league. I'm just throwing that shit out there too. So,
Listen, I would not be opposed to a Steelers-Lions Super Bowl because it could get the Steelers number 7 or it could get their Lions their first. So it's either way, I'd be happy.
It's not a bad time to be a football fan. And when we started when we had our pandemic year, it was just a rough year for everybody. So, I mean, true. The Steelers went 11-0, and then the other shoe fell after Baltimore done fucked up. But this has been a fun season. We've got that going on. We were talking the other day about just things are not horrible, and they're not way good. Like wrestling is pretty good right now. The NFL is decent to watch. It's not like, oh my God, the best season ever, but it's not like, oh God, can we just enough already? And you've got shows like this that, by the way, last week's show, unbelievable, so needed, so well received. I was so glad you guys got to do that and have the amazing people you had on, including the newest Virginian and her husband. God bless Daisy for moving into Arlington on purpose. It's been following along the Twitter journey for Daisy and Jason. It's been fun, but yeah, it's a good year. And you guys can see I'm on. It's old school XMV style for those of you fans that were around back then. And we're on location here. At least I am out in Downey at OG Collectibles. The generational AEW champion's on his way, so it's going to be an interesting night the rest of the way.
There you go. If I ever make it out to the West Coast, we need to do an XMV style show, just once.
Yeah, it's funny. Jade asked me the other day, would there ever be a thing where we could do like an XMV? Where are they now? It's like, let's see. They're all the original couples either divorced or split up. We don't talk to 2 or 3 of the old co-hosts anymore. Sure, we're all in our own personal hell one week and having a great week the next. So that's where we are now.
Before I even started doing this channel, I pitched the rise and fall of XMV, and I think we got a couple responses to maybe do it, but that's all the further it went.
Yeah, and that was more than a decade ago that post went out with the creative cover, if you will. We've talked about it off and on over the years. It's just a matter of so few of us OGs, cheap plug, would be into any sort of project. And it's funny, I was on the review either last week before, and I said names, and I said not names of people, but like names of shows and time frames. And Aaron made me correct myself, because at the end of the day, we don't have the same audience anymore. We just don't. Like and you know what? In most ways, it's better. Yes, there are a few people that were around as fans back then, including MJF apparently, if you read that tweet he put out 6 years ago. But which, God, I did the backwards math and realized how old he was when we started doing the show. It's like, can I have my rheumatism now? God, but it's awesome that our audience has evolved as we've evolved, and as God knows I have grown as a on-air performer. Thank God. Aaron almost had to. You've had the opportunity to start your own channel, do your own thing. You've got three different shows that you have made your own and got out there, and I'm the champion of all three. I'm the only Triple Crown champion in Greg Cherry brand history. I'm not gonna put this. So that's my title on this brand going forward. The only Triple Crown champion in history.
Yeah, I never competed for the Jack of all trades championship. So like I've won 2 out of the 3. I just never competed for that one. But yeah, you are the first triple threat winner. It's you and T-Fame, besides myself, obviously, that have appeared on Wrestling Trivia Challenge, Jack of all trades, the Greg Cherry Show, and Luck of the Draw. I think we're the only 3.
Yes, and as we've seen, you can do karaoke quite well. You can do entrances quite well on this show and other shows. So hopefully, if timing works out, we'll have you on Saturday after Full Gear, if it's not too ass late for everybody on the East Coast.
Well, if it's anything like AEW pay-per-views in the past, I'm not expecting that show to end until like 12:30. So
well, yeah, I'd
already be out.
I was going to say, I think if we wanted to start on time on Saturday, Tony should start the show an hour ago.
Marshall was asking, how long have we had the Greg Cherry Show? Surprisingly, we've been around for 3 years and 3 months. Because if you remember, when we did our 30th anniversary show, we had Sean Ross Sapp on. So that was a pretty cool moment. When we do our Christmas show or the end of the year show or whatever we do there, we will probably replay the Val Venus entrance, just because it brought the light to pretty much everybody except me.
So I just thought that Sean tried to throw me under the bus for why don't you wear one of Jeff's shirts? It's like, because Greg designs my shirts. He bought your shirt, and you get to have the exposure in more ways than one with the Val Venus entrance there, Sean. No. If we're going for New Year's, episode 100 of Open Mic Night is on New Year's Eve. It's also the anniversary show for the Jeff Meacham Network. And yes, it's ass late, but it's also a New Year's show. Like, we're going to start at 11 p.m. Eastern and count down the ball drop on each U.S. time zone. So you want to be on the first hour, and we will gladly play the Val Venus clip on that show, since it'll be out on your channel anyway. There you go.
Because it's either that or me dumping chocolate on myself. One of the two. You did not get to experience that, Joey, because you won.
Yeah, I think if we want to save Josh's New Year from starting out messy, we won't play the Matty dumping anything on himself clips.
Oh no, we've got to save him. Like, let him build up his love of Matty Laws until next year.
Yes, I will say though, I don't know if you've been watching the shows this week or the last week. Josh has been put on a clock. He revealed to myself and JJ in a private chat that he had not seen Mary Poppins ever in the history of his life. Disney movie, one of the greatest Disney, probably Walt's masterpiece when he was still alive, we're being honest. So he has been told that he has to watch Mary Poppins before Full Gear. And he's going to have a quiz during the 0 hour, or whatever they call on the pre-show the Saturday. If he fails the quiz, he is banned from your show for a month through the end of the year.
Wow.
Because he's been up Noah's ass all year about the Disney karaoke and what he's going to do. Noah, and he hasn't seen the Disney movie with all the great songs from the Sherman Brothers. It's like, no, you're on probation, muckerfather. So he has to pass the quiz. So.
Marshall says, I was just wondering, because I feel like you've been around the YouTube world for a while. Some days it feels like I haven't been, and other days feels like I've been doing this forever. But it really depends on what we get. But thank you for tuning in as long as you have. For anybody new watching, yeah, I've been around doing this for 3 years. The Greg Cherry brand specifically, because I started uploading the old Luck of the Draws, and we tried doing our show. I tried. I will say I tried to do like counter programming to talk wrestling while I was in college. Or no, it wasn't even talk wrestling back then. It was the hell was your show before talk?
It was still XMV back then.
No, you had one in between XMV and talk wrestling.
I didn't myself. I know. Okay, so after talk wrestling, or God, you got me doing it. When XMV ended after One Night Stand 06, we kind of had like a year lull. We did like a few videos here and there, but nothing like concrete.
Oh, you know what? No, it was talk wrestling because it would have been while I was at Clarion. So yeah, it was talk wrestling. I tried to counter program that and start like a little feud, and that just went completely terribly. I was like, okay, let's just abandon ship. This is bad. What's up, Zach? Thoughts on Harbaugh, and do you think this affects him going to the NFL? First of all, Muck Fishigan.
I was going to say, fuck him and his damn team.
Yeah. I think Jesse retweeted a statement today from the Big Ten that Michigan has withdrawn their appeal of the punishment process. So that means they fucked up, is what that means. And they know it, and they're going to get pwned, and you'll love to see it. I don't care if it's 2023. I'm still using the word pwned, so deal with it.
That's right. And here's the deal. People ask me, why Max? Why not the event where Flair's going to be? Or, if I go to the Flair event, I'm going to get on his case for supporting Harbaugh. That's why. I'm going to throw down with Nate. And I'm not going to intentionally injure a 70-something-year-old man. I'm not going to jail today. Because he threw support behind Harbaugh in Michigan a long time ago. It's like, Nate, I love you, but you're getting more senile as you go. Like, stop. Both Harbaugh brothers are a cancer to football. And they need to go away.
I'm not even as mad at John Harbaugh. Like, even though he's the coach of the Ravens, I'm not as mad at him. He annoys the crap out of me. I hate playing his team, even though we seem to beat them a lot lately. But it's one of those things that, Jim Harbaugh being the coach of Michigan, I was watching clips of like coaches being angry and stuff. And there's this one reaction that Harbaugh had when he was coach of the 49ers, and he just looked like he was throwing a fit because a challenge didn't go his way. And it was just hilarious to watch. So between Michigan State's last second punt block return for a touchdown against Michigan, which I watch all the time just for the voice crack, and also watching him pick his nose and eat it on camera during a Michigan game. Like, there is footage out there of that, and I've watched it because he's like looking up at the biggest screen while he's doing it. It's like, dude, Harbaugh, what the hell is your problem? That's something you do when you're 4 or something. You don't do it when you're an adult.
Yeah, he is just the worst. And Marshall, your next comment, I think you're in the wrong room for that. As far as being unfair to Matt Canada, we can't be unfair enough to Matt Canada on this show.
Here's the thing with the last couple weeks. They moved him to the sideline, which I think they should have done from the very beginning. I don't know why they had him up in the booth. Having offensive coordinators up in the booth is such a college thing. I don't know why your coordinator's on the sidelines in the NFL. Nonetheless, he hasn't improved greatly, but part of me is starting to wonder how much of the execution is Canada's fault and how much of the execution is Kenny Pickett's fault. Because I don't know why they don't have Kenny Pickett throwing over the middle unless they believe he can't.
Yeah, okay. It's but the thing is, it's not been Matt just this season either. He's been a was the last 2 or 3 years now, like a headache for all you Steeler, all you Titletown folks. Not Titletown, that's Green Bay. All you Talware folks. It's maddening, and the fact that yes, moving him down seems to have improved. I mean, like you said, the Steelers are in the conversation for the top seed after this weekend if everything aligns properly. But he's still. I liken it to a teenage son. Not going to name any names. I'm just going to point his direction and whistle. That was for Santa Clarita. Proven consistency. You do it 2 weeks, cool. You do it 17, we'll start taking you off timeout.
Yeah. Because, like, there have been a couple weeks this season where I've given Canada credit, be like, okay, I'll lay off him for the week. And then Matt Canada's all over the place the next game. And it's just completely insane. And then we lose to the next 24. So it's the thing is, maybe we need to put that pressure on him. Because, like, you can't in the NFL, it's not like you can hide behind poor decisions because, like, you can lose a couple games here and there and be fine. It's not baseball that has 162 games. You only got 17 to try and make the playoffs. It's a much shorter, like, much less room to fail in the NFL. And just ask some of the Bills, for crying out loud, fire their offensive coordinator after they lost to the Broncos, which that's understandable. Who loses to the Broncos? The Chiefs did too, but I don't think they're.
The only thing the Chiefs should fire is their cameraman's ability to shoot the stands, because my goodness, it's going to Tay show. That's a whole other conversation.
Well, I'm not getting heated with you, Marshall. I'm not. It's one of those things where we put the pressure on Matt Canada to make him do his job, because we don't feel like in the last 3 years he has warranted, the position that he's in. If he goes out and tries to prove himself, proves us all wrong, I hope he does. I want him to succeed. But the fact of the matter is, you look at numbers, you look at stats, the offense just is not producing at a level that is sustainable to get you a championship. Now, this could be a situation kind of like the Broncos when they won their Super Bowl championship a few years ago. Peyton Manning was arguably a god-awful quarterback that year. Like, he was completely done, and he was after that season. But the defense stepped up so much to the point that it didn't matter how much Manning sucked. The defense was going to bail him out, and they won a championship. So if the Steelers do that, then who are we to argue,
That's the thing with fandom versus, actual staff. We can Monday morning quarterback all we want. We can quarterback during the game all we want, but we're not there calling the plays on the sidelines. And if, means to an end, if they're winning games and they're winning titles, yeah, it's a frustrating maybe not hair pulling because I'm a bad example of that, but it's a stressful ride through 17 weeks plus playoffs. But if you get the Lombardi Trophy at the end, why are we bitching?
Yeah. Zach is saying Caleb Williams is the #1 prospect in next year's draft. Thoughts on him telling teams, if you draft me, I want ownership? Okay. It's no secret that I'm not a USC fan. That is very, very clear. It's here, it's back there. There's no secret where my allegiance lies. So let's put my Notre Dame bias, over to the side. Caleb Williams having the absolute gall to request ownership in an NFL team, even partial ownership, when he has not played a single snap, is ludicrous. I don't care how good of a quarterback he is. Nobody gets to make demands to an NFL franchise, especially when he could have a situation like Aaron Rodgers. Play 4 plays, you're out for the season. So what the hell are you going to do? First of all, I don't even think it's legal to be a player and be a partial owner. So legally, I don't even think it's a thing. But the fact that he has this mindset, if he doesn't like it, he can do what he did after he lost his third game and go cry to his mama.
It's one of those, I know it's a gray area with ownership and general manager as coach, right, Belichick? Right, Jerry? But I don't know about a play like, and we've talked about, I talk about on every show I've ever been on. Player coaches are never a good idea. You can't, and player owners is even worse. So anybody that is actively involved in the gameplay on the field, be it wrestling, be it, legitimate competitive athletics, anything, is just a recipe for disaster. Can't understand. And there's so many examples in wrestling alone, but just, there's a conflict there, because if you have ownership, then you're gonna want to play yourself to make sure you make the most money, and that's not how it needs to work.
The wrestling equivalent to this would be a wrestler having creative control.
I know that example works for me, brother.
There you go. But yeah, it's one of those things that Caleb Williams, he is a great player. I will not take that away from him. He is a great quarterback. But holy shit, does that ego need to be put in check?
That is some major balls. Granted, he plays in LA, so the ball's going to be a big. But goddamn, kid.
Yeah, that's what we were saying, Marshall. I don't think it's legally possible. It is, in fact, a conflict of interest. So
very much so.
And it may cost him position on a team.
If you're going to make that a demand in your signing or bonus or whatever, then you might as well just resign yourself to a life of retail, kid. Really.
Yeah, it's one of those things where a lot of clubs are going to look at that and be like, this kid's already got an ego on him. He hasn't even played a snap. He hasn't proven himself. We don't know if he's better than our third string guy. He may not even make it past training camp or the preseason. We don't know that. Does he have talent? Sure. But do we want to deal with this bullshit? No. So he better calm his ass down and, focus on if he wants to be drafted this year by a team like, who's a terrible team this year? Like the Chicago Bears or the Carolina Panthers or something like that. But that's going to be his direction if he's going to go that high in the draft.
Which if he's gonna go with the Bears, he can take part of the ownership and build them a decent stadium or upgrade Soldier Field. There's that. If somebody in the chat can do me a favor and Google search police activity in Downey, because either MJF has a police escort or there's some shit going down. I need to get inside. One or the other. Just don't know that.
Yeah.
Lots of sirens.
Zach is also saying Notre Dame versus LSU bowl game. That would be fun for no other reason than to see us versus Brian Kelly. The problem I have with that is that the last two times Notre Dame and LSU have played each other, Brian Kelly's coached the winning team, which the last two times was Notre Dame. But seeing that this time around with Sam Hartman, who quite frankly has fallen off since the Ohio State game, it's just been a disaster, honestly. I don't know. We'll see. I saw Notre Dame and Tennessee as a possibility too. Just win out. Just beat Wake Forest, beat Stanford. And of course the Stanford game is during Survivor Series, so if Punk shows up, I probably won't know until after the game. It's also I'm gonna bitch about this for a second. The Notre Dame Stanford game is on the Pac-12 network. Who the hell owns the Pac-12 network? The Pac-12 is going to dissolve soon. Why are they showing it on an exclusive network? You want that extra money? Maybe you should have made your teams happy. You jagoffs. Like, what the hell are you doing? Hulu? Oh, I might check out Hulu. That might be my better option. Still, the Pac-12 network. Why not? Does it not want to put it on like ESPN3 or like the internet ones or something like that? Pac-12 network.
When the same company owns more than one thing, that's the problem. But you didn't hear the former Disney employee say that out loud. Anyway, yeah. So what I want to know, I'm actually looking forward to college ball. I'm going to be busier than hell. Given where I am, I'm going to be busy with the rest of the weekend. But Tennessee is playing Georgia this weekend. Tennessee already lost to Alabama. So if Tennessee loses to Georgia too, I don't think Double J is going to be able to show himself in the ad-free shows team meetings because they don't have Shivani and Conrad on his ass. It's going to be funnier than fuck to watch.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's probably been the thing for years because for the last up until the last couple of years, Tennessee was not fantastic. They beat Alabama last year.
Which is why Jarrett was so confident about the bet this year, and now he's going to the game next year having a dress in Crimson Tide. Including that ugly body paint and everything. He is going to be completely crimsoned out, and he's hating life. And then if the Bulldogs beat Tennessee, which should be a thing if we're being honest, it should happen. There's no reason it shouldn't happen, considering it's Georgia. But then again, Georgia's only been tested once, really, all year. They only played a ranked team last week. So, it's going to be a fun weekend. We've got the AW stuff. We've got college football. We've got, hockey and basketball are really starting to get into the groove. It's going to be a fun sports weekend, I think. It'll be interesting. Are you going to be watching the AW stuff this weekend?
I don't know because we're preparing for Jen's family's Thanksgiving this Sunday. We typically do it the Sunday before Thanksgiving. So I'm sure all hands are going to be on deck in that situation.
Well, yeah, because that would be this Sunday for those of you not having a calendar in front of you. So trying to watch two. Well, if you count SmackDown on Friday, a gluttony of wrestling shows in 2 days before a gluttony of food the day after. Yeah, it's kind of a rough balance.
A little bit. So I will do my best to catch up with Full Gear, but I make no promises. It's one of those things where it's not that I don't want to watch Full Gear, but unlike a lot of these other wrestling podcasters and stuff, we don't get paid to talk about this.
Right. Yeah, it's and it's really hard with AEW because we've got so many friends that are actually are getting paid, and we want to support our buddies, but it's we don't get paid ourselves. It's a rough thing. So I know we're going to have somebody, to tell who actually our Rangers of Wrestling is going to be. She's on her way here now. She'll be at the show tomorrow at the Forum for. I think you're doing Collision first and then Rampage, which again, okay, whatever. I guess you want to have Collision be the one going against SmackDown. That does make sense at the end of the day, although they're still going to get killed in the ratings. And then we're doing the West Coast feed of SmackDown. So we're going to have a freaking 6 hour or 5 hour stream tomorrow. Then we've got Tony Khan's pay-per-view Marathon of Hell starting at 2:30 our time Saturday, followed by this shiznit. So like I said, long weekend, but fun weekend. I'm looking forward to all of it. I did load the graphics in just because I'm not much of a promotional whore for myself. I also wanted to ask you about this before we get to the plugs. I know we're only halfway through. What did you think about hearing about this? The fact they're bringing Backlash to France. I thought that.
I am excited for Baron Corbin because Baron Corbin got a hero's welcome in France, and when I saw that, I was like, Baron Corbin's going to get called back up and win a championship. New United States champion or Intercontinental, because I'm assuming Gunther won't have it by then.
Yeah. The last time I saw Baron in person, of course, was at the Sam Roberts podcast out here when they were doing Mania Weekend. And like I said, he had me apologize to Dylan for choosing him in fandom over Kofi. And, we know why now. But, man, he's been recharged going back to NXT and kind of getting that energy back within him. So, again, it's May 4th. It's Star Wars Day. It's still 6 months away. So hopefully they can do something. But, yeah, another international show, another premium event by WWE that's going to be in Europe, man. This whole global thing by Hunter is not bullshit. I love it. I love seeing it. And we've got so many. I was talking about this yesterday on Talk Wrestling since I got your time slot, and thank you, by the way. Appreciate that because being here was important. Synergy, kids. There are so many different regions of the world that watch the network that it's cool that there's a possibility of having something like we have Saturday, where we have somebody on the ground at the arena, at the stadium, whatever, as a on-site correspondent. I think that's so cool that doing this 20 years and we're still evolving our presentations. I just love the shit out of that. That's so wonderful for us.
Yeah. And, we're trying to expand even more of the stuff that we do. Like we do this show, like Jeff, you do Talk Wrestling, you do Meech's Musings, you do the live shows, the watch-alongs with the crew, and we just dipped our toe into the water of doing Luck of the Draw live, which is super cool, and I feel like that's going to be huge moving forward.
Yeah, I am looking forward to January if that is when the target date for the next one is. I like the idea of doing it quarterly. I like the idea of doing Jack of all trades quarterly, and just finding ways to, like Rocky said about Adrian in the first movie, they got gaps, we fill gaps. It's perfect that we have different levels of cooperation amongst the majority of the multiverse. Again, we're very alliterative in the majority of the multiverse of media. To do that, but again, to be able to do stuff like this and knowing that the guy fan of mine growing up, but it makes me feel old as shit. First of all, because he's 27 now, but growing up, that was within my career. So it's like, oh God. Being able to do stuff like this, being able to host, a watch along of Friday night's shenanigans, a double shot again on Saturday with all these, different super chat tiers people can spin and, choose songs and from Disney's past. It's cool to be able to realize the potential that you knew we had all those years ago of expanding beyond. We're just going to talk about wrestling. I very much feel like the conversation with Vince McMahon and Ted Turner. I'm in the wrestling business. That's great. We're in the entertainment business. Where'd it go? Come back. There it is. I don't know how to do the banner all the time yet. I'm working on it still. Technology's not my thing yet. But it's very cool that after all this time, we're still learning new things and be able to do new things and have that backup beep just fuck the shit out of my audio. So I'm going to go on mute now.
I just like seeing the reaction. It's cool that we don't talk about wrestling all the time because let's face it, if we're not getting paid to talk about wrestling all the time, we're not going to talk about wrestling all the time. And that's why for like 5 months out of the year, we talk about football because we both like football. You're a Cowboys fan. I'm a Steelers fan. They're both doing well right now. Maddie's a Broncos fan, and they're there. But it's one of those things.
He's a Broncos fan, and he's covered in chocolate, so it is what it is.
I mean, his team has beaten in the last 2 games the Chiefs and the Bills. So there's something there.
Yeah, it's because Tay wasn't there. It's all her fault.
Oh, my.
That is strictly to piss Zach off if he's still in the chat room. We love you, Zach. But yeah, on Impact tonight. This is on regular free Impact television. Fucking Josh Alexander, Will Ospreay. Can we just say let's fucking go on that? Jiminy crickets.
Well, since we are talking about wrestling and Ospreay's name was brought up, who do you think is the mystery person at Full Gear? I've seen a lot of people say it's Mercedes. Some people are saying it isn't, though. Some people are saying Shibata. And Ospreay, as far as we know, is still under contract to New Japan. So it probably won't be him.
So Tony's making an announcement at Full Gear, right? That was the gimmick?
Like the person is coming out at Full Gear, I think. To sign
okay. So I have a theory that's just going to piss people off, but it's very Tony-like, and it's very like the person I'm thinking of. All we've been hearing for the last year plus is somebody is going to start a bidding war in 2024. What if it's Max? Just to be that Russo Swerve guy.
I feel like some people would think that oh, that's cool. Max is re-signed to AEW, blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, like, you're basically promising a new person coming into the company. So nobody likes to be bait and switched. You know, it's one of those things where
I agree.
So doing something like that would be like, why didn't they just like make an announcement that Max was resigned rather than make us think it's somebody else and then have it be Max? Like if it was MJF, fantastic for AEW. Whoever gets MJF is going to be blessed with a ridiculous amount of talent in just Max. But
the problem with that is, well, go ahead.
It's not going to be anybody who was in the last batch of releases because their 90 days isn't up yet. So
December, week of Christmas at best.
Yeah. So you may see them maybe at the beginning of the new year for either Nick
I would say Ospreay is also not likely because he's appeared in AEW enough where he wouldn't be a new talent. Mercedes is definitely a viable candidate based on that qualification, that categorization. But again, with her injury, we don't know when she's going to be back. We don't know how long it's going to take for her to get better. So I wouldn't risk that in case she's not like ready to go when she's supposed to return or whatever. If it's Goldberg, I'm going to lose my ever-loving shit, Zach. I'll tell you that right now. I will get Max to hit him upside the head with the Burberry once he gets it back. I promise I will do that. That will be a thing.
Tell Max, if it's Goldberg, just head to WWE now. Just leave.
No, seriously. If it's Goldberg, Max needs to beat Jay White and then run to Stanford and go, please. Please, 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 pretty please. I'm not dealing with this shit.
Yeah. I don't know who it could possibly be. Hopefully it's not like a Ric Flair situation. Hopefully it's not like some legend who's just going to be there. It's like, because we're all expecting somebody who's going to be on TV and competing. And one of the tweets yesterday that I saw made me laugh, and it was for probably one of the worst reasons. Somebody tweeted, because Tony said they are well respected by all AEW fans. And this one person was like, well, we know it's not a woman. I was like, shit.
Damn! Hey, you know what? They're respected enough to have the same. They have a set time slot every week, except yesterday for whatever reason. On this show, that's bullshit, man. Especially after last week's presentation, man. We know. I would hope it wouldn't be something that, again, everybody hates a bait and switch. I don't disagree with that, but Tony has proven again, you love not knowing. That's the best part of being a wrestling fan is you don't know. So we'll see how it goes.
Somebody also floated the idea out on Twitter. It's like, hey, maybe it's Ronda Rousey. And it's like, you know what? I hope it is, because that means Sasha is WWE bound, because she will not go there.
No. Well, it's funny. Ronda's actually wrestling tonight up in Glendale. She's wrestling for an indie federation up here. She's teaming with Marina against oh hell, I forget who they're facing. But yeah, she has her first full-on match back in wrestling since she left WWE, and that's tonight. The Nemeth brothers, and again, we mentioned Nick is not past 90 days if it is him. So, but Nick and Ryan have a show. I think they're somewhere on the Sunset Comedy block there, up there on Hollywood. They've got a show. There's a thing in Hollywood and Highland with Hook and Darby and Brody King. There's the basketball thing. There's like a big basketball charity thing over near the Forum. Flair's going to be there. And then there's this tonight. So AEW is literally taking over Southern California. I love it. I love to see it. Tony did say well respected. I love the Garcia twins personally. I have come to love them more since getting to know them better, but I don't think they're universally respected enough for Tony to throw that out there. Is my fear.
And another reason I don't think it's Mercedes, like a lot of people unfairly criticize Mercedes Moné's work, which again, no secret from this guy, I think that Mercedes is the greatest women's wrestler of all time.
I think the problem is people criticize her dependability over her ability, her in-ring ability, and that's where she bites herself in the ass, unfortunately. I'm not saying it's always garnered, but the two walkouts definitely didn't help her or Trin. At least Trin, got herself in to Impact, and she's got a little bit of respect back. Mercedes, unfortunately for her, did the walkouts, Simon in Japan, and then got hurt. So she's just been snake bit ever since the first walkout, really.
Well, I don't even know if you can call the first one a walkout, because when she came back after WrestleMania 35, like the night after SummerSlam, I call it her blue hair era, because that's really what it was. That was some of the best work she ever did. So and that's saying something, because, NXT Sasha pulled off Sasha and Bayley take over Brooklyn and take over Respect in the Iron Woman match, which were two of the greatest women's matches ever. And people get on my case all the time for saying that Sasha Bayley is the greatest women's match ever. It's like, oh, what about this match from Stardom? It's like, I guarantee you that 10% of the people who watched Sasha Bayley might have seen a match from Stardom, because they don't have the exposure over here. Because I haven't seen it, I can't judge it fairly. I'm sure it's fantastic. Joshi wrestlers are absolutely fantastic, and there's
it's very subjective, because we don't actively, you or I, watch New Japan or Stardom all the time. So do we want to do the weird state laws, or we want to keep going with the discussion? Because I'm kind of like, the questions from Zach as far as who the devil's going to be, and Marshall to talk about the discussion, I really want to wait and see. I'm kind of over talking about it. Like I just want to get there already. I want to see what happens.
Part of me wonders if it is Adam Cole and the broken ankle was just incredibly sold.
I wouldn't mind if it was Adam, and then I need to get this guy's parking. Give me a second here. Oh, never mind. He turned past it. Okay, fine. We're live, pal. The Blair Witch Project is on. Anyway, I'm sure the ankle was initially broken, but I would not be surprised at all if it was Adam Cole. I think that's the way to go. I really do.
Yeah.
Unless they're going to keep Max or turn Max back heel, which I'm also completely fine with, by the way. I would say safe money is Adam Cole, but Max being all along would not surprise me in the slightest.
It's not going to be Punk, Zach.
No, you know what though? I would not put that past Tony, and I've said on every show I've been on the last couple of weeks, I'm going to say it here. If it's CM Punk, they're going to have to forcibly muffle my mouth during Disney karaoke from going off on Tony. Like, I will go off. It'll be a thing.
But you know what? If it is Punk, then applause for a masterfully sold story, because we all believe that it was over with Punk.
Right.
But if it is CM Punk and the build is similar-ish, well done on a story, because they never did really get to Punk and MJF, because MJF came back as the devil, and then CM Punk had the brawl out comments, and they never realigned. Punk called himself the real world champion while Max was champion. I don't know.
And the last time I saw Max in person, again, half a rain away, was when he cut that promo, before he walked out and then returned to the devil during All Out. So again, I don't disagree with Virtue that it'll be Adam Cole. And again, Adam Cole was a spoiler, for us when we were at the Forum in January. So I'm okay with whoever it is, as long as the payoff means something. And that's a very big if with AEW the way it's been booked. So I'm genuinely curious, and I'm looking forward to how it pays off, whatever it may be.
Somebody also floated out that was Jungle Boy. It's like, unless he cut his hair, it's not Jungle Boy. There's no way all that was fitting under there.
Well, but there are ways in Hollywood to tuck your hair back behind, something like that. And his father being who he was in Hollywood, it's nothing is out of the realm of possibility. I think that's what's great about it is you don't know, and I think that's the best part of it. But again, if it doesn't pay off in the long run,
Yeah, hopefully it's not one of those things where the reveal is better than the payoff, because that's happened a ton in wrestling. All right, so to close the show, we are going to do some weird state laws. I am going to spin the wheel, and we are going to see what we land on. Jeff was hoping, for the sake of MJF, that was New Jersey. So we'll see if that is in fact the case. Not going to be New Jersey. It's going to be Louisiana.
Okay, well, there you go. We can do it for Zach then.
Yeah. So we are going to look at some weird Louisiana state laws. And I'm sad Maddie's not here because he doesn't get to make his prediction.
No.
Well, this first one's interesting. In the state of Louisiana, figure this one out, fake wrestling matches are prohibited.
Then how could they possibly say Superdome wrong so many times? Anyway,
Yeah, they've run WrestleMania twice there, so that's either outdated or not enforced.
that would be a legitimate reason why Flair Steamboat at the Clash didn't sell out. Just saying. Just throwing it out there, kids. Long-term storytelling, even when it's bad for you.
Also in Louisiana, spectators at a boxing match may not mock one of the contestants.
May not what?
Mock.
You can't heckle? Wow. Don't come to L.A. I mean, L.A. County, not L.A. Louisiana. I guess it's okay here because sure that wouldn't fly here because we mock everybody. We suck.
This one is like, these are already absurd. Also in Louisiana, it is a $500 fine to instruct a pizza delivery man to deliver a pizza to your friend without them knowing.
I think that's fair. I think that's pretty messed up. I hate people do that shit, so I'm okay with that one.
But what if you want to surprise them? Like, it's not like you're pranking them or something. Like, if you prepay for it, who cares? You get a free pizza. But
well, but for something like pizza, it's better to check ahead, especially with you never know who's gluten free these days, right?
Zach is saying mourners can't have more than 3 sandwiches at a funeral.
At the funeral, I agree with, but at the wake, you gotta have something besides sit there and be told. Yeah, I gotta have something to occupy your time besides crying, right?
Yeah, like if they mean at the reception after, then
that's kind of like that negates the purpose of a reception because you're not gonna. What, are you gonna go sit there and cry over the gravesite and then go to the reception and just cry some more? Like, no, you want to be able to converse and be able to have something to make you feel a little bit better because food helps you feel better, as I know.
Yeah, because funerals are not a fun time.
I've been lucky in that, and I say lucky because it's not really lucky for me, but a friend of mine and her husband and baby, they're coming out for the husband's aunt's funeral, but they're also getting the baby who was just born for Santa picture with somebody that we all know and love as Santa Master. So take the good, take the bad.
It is illegal to gargle in public places.
I'm not sure about that one.
I'm for that one. That one's kind of disgusting.
Well, no, it is disgusting. But if you're in a drinking contest, gargling Jack Daniels, that's just funny.
Biting someone with your natural teeth is simple assault, while biting someone with your false teeth is aggravated assault.
Okay. That is complex and what the hell? Like if you're using your false teeth, which I know costs thousands of dollars to bite somebody, you should be charged with aggravated assault because you should pay for your own stupidity. Because those things are not cheap, brother. Woo!
Ace Steel was this law talking about? Jeff's going into main MJF. It's okay. Oh boy,
that is me not touching that with a Chicago-sized pole. That's nope.
A Chicago deep dish pole.
If you know, you know. If you don't, get a fucking clue. Don't be a jag.
Don't be a jag. Yep. Let's see. In New Orleans, Louisiana, this one makes no sense. Chasing fish in a city park is against the law.
I have questions.
Ew. It doesn't feel like it would be a very long chase. Is the park entirely contained in a waterbed? Because if not, the fish don't have a chance. It's just not fair. Yeah. Also in New Orleans, Mardi Gras beads may not be thrown from a third-story window.
I think that's fair, and I've seen the results of that happening, so I fully endorse that. Second story or lower, kids.
I mean, yeah, I guess that would hurt. In New Orleans, TV reporters may not throw candy to the crowd during a parade.
That's stupid.
Yeah, see, when I was a kid, like we had like a parade in front of our like little mall area, and they threw candy, and we were perfectly fine. Like, why is this such a problem? Unless somebody like got concussed or something.
Sorry, brother. Say that again, Greg. I'm sorry.
I would say unless somebody got concussed with hard candy being thrown at you.
Well, you know, if you watched the SNL Christmas special last year, they were having Martin Short as Scrooge tossing coins to the people on the ground. They were going through them like causing blood and chaos and mayhem. So you know, candy could be just damaging, I suppose. That like if you're in a parade route, you're on a float, you're not that high up where it's going to cause damage. I just think I think that's more the city trying to not have a mess to clean up if people miss the candy. Lazy bastards.
Two more, and they're both from the same town. In Sulphur, Louisiana, saying obscene things on the telephone is illegal.
That negates the entirety of what Zach does for a living, among other things. Like, but why? Why?
I mean, if I was doing this show and I had to do it on my phone, then we couldn't air the show in Louisiana.
Definitely not lucky to draw on the phone. That's for sure.
Yeah. And finally, in Sulphur, Louisiana, this is the one where I want to get up and leave. It is illegal to have sex with a cow. Good night.
Okay, that's where the legislator question comes in. When did this happen? That it has to be written down as a law. Bestiality is always illegal, kids.
Why is this not common sense?
Like, first of all,
have to be
the fact that it's in the legislator in that city. You know, maybe they're high on the sulfur. Maybe that's the thing. Maybe I don't know. All
right. Well, I know. Yeah. On that note, I hope you enjoy meeting MJF. I don't know how the hell I was going to transition from that, but that's what I did.
There is no transition. You just make the comment you made, and I get to the shameless shills. Again, thank you all for watching Greg's show on an off day. I know it's weird to have me on Wednesday and Greg on Thursday, but again, tomorrow, the Friday Night War, if you want to call it a war. I'm not going to say too much bad about AEW because they're champions right behind that door. I'm not going to be that guy. But yeah, AEW and SmackDown both tomorrow night. And then Full Gear on Saturday, Disney Yoki on Saturday. Again, there's the tiers. $5 super chat gets you a double spin, both random choices. $15 gets you a random category spin. You choose the singer. Please don't choose me a lot. I don't sing worth a shit. $25, you choose both. It's really just that simple, kids. We'll see you all throughout the weekend. Hopefully we get to see Greg come in. I know it's, like I said, it's late as hell on the East Coast, especially after an AEW review, which it'll probably be Sunday afternoon by the time we're done with AEW.
But anyway, thank you guys for joining us on the special Thursday edition of the Greg Cherry Show. For Jeff Meacham, I am Greg Cherry. Hopefully he has a good time with MJF, with our scumbag. And until next Wednesday, because obviously next Thursday is Thanksgiving, next Wednesday we will be back at our normal time, in our normal time slots. So until next week, thank you very much for watching the Greg Cherry Show. Don't be a jag. And we'll see you next time. Have a good one.
Don't be a jag, be a scumbag. Max, he's our scumbag. We already have one. We're good.